we all had breakfast, so it won't be conflict. So over to you, Pastor Yusuf.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I need to share my screen. Okay, can you all see this?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. How do I see everyone? It's in okay, never mind, it's all right. Okay, tonight we're going to talk about conflict and communication as part of the TNCC series Love at Home. Okay, maybe before we start, I'll just say a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for tonight, that for all those of us who are here in this session, I ask you that your Spirit will speak to us. It will be a practical and in a sense, usable session for all of us, that we will be able to draw something out of it, and that it will help us in our individual marriages as well. We just thank you that you speak to all of us, and that the message should be clear. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Okay. So opening thoughts, okay? First thing I would like to ask is, what is the greatest cause of conflict in your marriage? What is the greatest cause of conflict in your marriage? I think, how do we do this exactly? I don't think you need to put it, down, but maybe think of some or one or two things in your marriage that you know is the biggest trigger of fights or conflict. Right? I think every married person would know what this is. So I mean, just keep it in your head. I think we will go through some of these later on. And second question I have is, how do we communicate to diffuse or avoid conflict? So tonight we're going to be looking at why conflicts happen, and we're going to look at also talk about communication, right? To between couples. So tonight is mainly between couples, right? So what is conflict? The definition of conflict is defined as a clash between individuals, in this case two individuals, arising out of a difference in thought process, attitudes, understanding, interests, requirements, and perceptions. Okay, so I think this is quite clear, that it is basically where two husband and wife disagree, all right, or fight over because, all right, they disagree or they see things differently in terms of from the background of their own understanding, their interests, right? So why does conflict happen? Why does conflict happen? So I think conflict occurs because two individuals with different values, with different opinions, with different needs and different interests are not able to find a middle way. You're not able to find a way that both parties can agree to. So when both parties agree to it, then it's not conflict anymore. So it's quite, in a sense, it's obvious in itself. So can we avoid conflict totally? Right? Can we avoid conflict in a marriage completely? So I think when I was younger, okay, I would witness conflict at home, and I told myself that I was trying to learn, right? So I see, then I observe, then I say, okay, you must do this or you must do that, and then you will not need to fight. And I remember I was quite young, I mean, like maybe 17, 18, And I was actually reading books about, like men are from Mars and women are from Venus. I don't know whether any of you know that book. A very interesting book where I talk about the differences between men and women. And so I read all this. I told myself, I said, I want to have a marriage, right, where I almost never fight with my wife. Okay, that's what I told myself. And of course, I found out that it is not possible, right? So I've been married 20 years in July. And so why is it that why is this the case? So can we avoid conflict totally? Number one, the premise of marriage is obviously the joining of two individuals from different backgrounds. Because two people meet and, obviously for sure your background is going to be different. No matter how similar you are, it will still be different. And of course, in marriage or in dating or in love, we say the law of, opposites attract. So if a lady or girl is very shy and she doesn't like her shyness, then she sees an outgoing guy that's comfortable with people and all that, then you can be attracted to somebody like that because it kind of maybe covers what or is a trait that you desire for yourself. And since you desire it in someone, or rather if you can have someone who is like that, then it could cover for your weakness, right? So opposite attract, or something about someone that they do, let's say they dare to do something that you don't dare to do, or they're eloquent, or they are passionate, right? And so people go after these things. Okay, so law of opposites attract. I think everyone understands this. And we also say that variety is the spice of life, right? Variety is the spice of life means it's interesting to have something different, right? You can't eat rice and vegetables every single day, for every single meal, it'd be very boring. So variety is the spice of life, but sometimes the spice gets too spicy, okay? So what makes marriage fun or complementary is the same recipe for conflict. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the very thing that makes marriage interesting and makes marriages in a sense strong is it could be the thing that tears marriages apart as well, if not managed properly. Okay, so the answer to this, can we avoid conflict totally? The answer is quite a firm no. All right, it is not possible in a marriage to not fight. Okay, so fighting is a given. You will definitely fight because the very thing that you are looking for is basically different from you, and then it's two sides of the same coin. Okay, so since we can't avoid it, right, we have to then think, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to manage it, right? And so the first thing that we need to do excuse me, the first thing that we need to do is to understand the common triggers for conflict. What is it that triggers fights? So these are 6 areas that are very common. The most common triggers for conflict across or in couples across the world. So it doesn't mean that you would fight about every single thing, but you will probably be fighting about 1 or 2 or 3 things inside here. So all couples who are looking at this now, I think that you all can identify which is it that you all have a problem with, okay? So hotspot is a hotspot. So let me describe it a little bit more. So honor or respect. Why is honor or respect a trigger for conflict? So I give you an example. Let's say a couple is married, and then let's say I give you an example. The husband is a very laid back guy. He doesn't really, he's not ambitious. He's not go-getter. He's very, very simple, very happy to just be as he is, you know, and then the wife. So I mean, initially they're happy together and all that, but as you progress, then you maybe at work, you know, the wife wants a bit more, but the husband is not really. I mean, she wants more out of as her peers, her own friends, their husbands, you know, as they progress and they get better, or they get more, they have more savings and they grow in their career. Then this husband here is not really doing that. It's kind of chill and all that. So the woman may feel that there is no respect among the peers, all right, externally for this. So that can cause conflict. But also internally between the couple, where maybe the husband doesn't feel that the wife honors or respects him. So because of this situation, maybe the wife doesn't treat the husband properly because look down on him, or the other way, or the husband looks down on the wife. So this thing about honor or respect is a very key problem, right? That couples face. The second thing, of course, is money. All right, money or the lack of money, or when you have too much money. Also, the way you spend the money. So I can attest to this, right? Me and my wife have had disagreements over this as well, where growing up, I grew up in a family that I didn't have all the things that I wanted. No, not all the things, all the material things, the nice stuff, like branded stuff and nice shoes and branded pants and shirts and all that. I didn't really have these when I was growing up. And so because of that hunger, I wanted to have it, you know, and so when we got married, then I'm earning the money that I just spend, you know, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, and then of course my wife get upset and say, why is it? Then I'm like, hey, it's my money and I've never had it, I want to have it, you know. So there's a difference in views of how to spend the money, you know. So money is a big issue where couples fight over, right? And then of course sex, right? Sex. So I mean, I'll leave this to Pastor Alan to talk about next week. But yeah, maybe frequency of sex or different desires that the different ones are, you know, the couples are not comfortable to give each other or something, you know. So this is what people fight over. Children, right? How to bring up children? How do you treat them? The problems that the child face, how do you deal with that problem? This can also cause fights. And then of course in-laws, right? So in-laws, the treatment of the in-laws, whether they are very involved or not involved or all that. So this, I think most of us would know what that means. And of course chores and household stuff lah, right? So I mean, this chores and household stuff is one of the things that I think me and my wife struggle with, because especially when during the pandemic we didn't have a maid, and so, you know, when different expectations. Okay, so this actually leads on to my next point, which is we understand the common triggers for conflict, but we also need to we understand that the reason that conflicts happen is because of different expectations, right? Different people have different expectations. I mean, everyone has different expectations. So understanding your differences as a couple is very important. So the first difference is obviously is husband and wife, man and woman, different, right? Your physical makeup is different. The hormones are different. So the way that men look at things and the way that women look at things very different. So like one example would be, I don't know whether you've seen, I was just laughing with my wife. I think I was showing her a Facebook video. They say, why do women live longer than men, right? So you see videos of men doing stupid things and super dangerous things, and then they do it, bam, and then they're all laughing, you know. So it's very risky. So men generally are more like to take risks for the thrill, for the fun, and that also is because of maybe primal, right, where men have to go out and hunt. So you know that going in the hunt, the excitement of it is what men are wired for. But women are ones for preservation. Okay, don't, please be careful, watch out for this. And so women tend to be more careful, all right? Tend to think through. But actually, what happens is that I actually had this conversation with my wife before. And I mean, it was fun to kind of look at ourselves, and we said that, for me, when I was younger, I'll take risks. I will try this and try that, invest here, invest there, take a lot of risks. And then, try different things. But then my wife would worry, not sure. Then, but on the other hand, you see, if, let's say, I completely listen to my wife and I don't take any risks, then we can't grow, we can't progress. All right. But if I totally don't listen to my wife, I just go ahead and do anything I want, wow, I'll get us into a lot of trouble. So there is an inherent difference between men and women, and we have to recognize this. All right. The way that the men are generally more cerebral, that means operate from the mind thinking, so less emotional, more cerebral. Women are more emotional, more heart, more feeling, more have more empathy and all this. So it's different and it complements one another. But because of this, the woman can feel that the man is not caring. Why you don't care about me? Why you don't show me that you love me, right? If you love me, why you don't show me, right? Let me say, I tell you, Rima, don't you know I do all these things for you, right? So that's one of the common conflict reasons for conflict. But then the men on the other side say, "Hey, women are so emotional. Why can't they think? So everybody all complete. But actually, both have their own function and purposes if they are in harmony. Okay. The second point is personalities. Obviously, we each of us have different personalities, and each of us have for example, are you a outgoing person? Are you an introvert, or are you an extrovert? And even extrovert, introvert also got different types of extrovert, different types of introvert. Everyone is very different. And so the expectation of somebody who is an extrovert versus somebody who is an introvert would be, what extrovert and introvert means? Extrovert means somebody who loves being around people, and they gain their energy, they are refreshed and energized when they are with people and talking to people, just being in a place where there's a lot of people, right? Introverts are the type that will say, oh, after they are around people who are very tired, then how they recharge is they like to spend time alone. They like to read a book or listen to music or just do your own thing and nobody disturb me. That's an introvert. All right. So can you imagine a husband that's extrovert and wife introvert, or wife that's extrovert and husband who's introvert? The wife has to go out and meet people, but husband always don't like to do that, so it can be a big problem. All right. So, but the personality is very important in terms of understanding the different expectations. Okay. And then the next one is temperament. So for example, temperament would be somebody who is passionate, can be hot-tempered, maybe, right? The temper the fuse is very short. Little bit, boom, go from 0 to 100 explosion, scolding and all sorts of things, you get people who are like that. Then those that are kind of very chill, no matter what, also cannot get angry one, you get this type. So generally you will find, in couples that you got one or the other lah. The other thing is, fourthly, is upbringing. Okay, in terms of upbringing, is very important. This thing. So I give you an example. You see, we always tell during marriage counseling, right? We tell couples, we say, hey, at home, who does the dishes when you were growing up? Is it your father or your mother? Okay, who fixes stuff around the house? Is it the father or the mother? Who these things are we think, yeah, doesn't matter one, but actually it's very important. Okay, so I give you another example. Let's say the wife comes from a family that the father always did everything around the house. Okay, the father would basically would just go around, you make sure everything's okay, everything is neat and tidy, anything spoiled, will fix it, and all that. And the mother is a lot more laid back. She handles other things, right? So the father will handle everything around the house. Okay, from the girl grew up in a family like that. Then the guy grows up in a family, the husband grows up in a family, then the mother take care of everything. Okay, the mother will take care of everything from top to bottom, right? The education of the kids and everything. Then the father work. Okay, so the mother take care of everything. So when these two individuals come together, the husband thinks that the wife will take care of everything in the house. But then the wife thinks that the husband will take care of everything in the house. This is a guaranteed conflict point. Okay, it will happen. All right. Because and maybe when you are in a good mood and you are how to say, you are not stressed, okay, you can do it. Maybe the husband can do it, or the wife can do it. But when you are under pressure or stress or tired or what, right, then you get angry because your expectation was that your spouse should be the one doing it, right? So this is a one key point, right? Also, like maybe who is the breadwinner, or maybe in your family, right? In terms of account, money, right? Do you share accounts? Do you have one central account, or does each one take care of their own account and then they put 50-50 into a joint account, or what? These are all things which we learn as we grow up, and forms the fabric of who we are, from our upbringing. Okay, so these expectations are a lot of times when you are dating, all right, you don't ask these things, all right? Or I mean, let's say you know your fiance, and you visit the house, see the parents, but do you know, like at night time when they lock up, who is who does what around the house? You don't know, so you can't actually see that, right? So couples need to talk about this. We always recommend that they talk about this during marriage counseling, right? So we have a manual, we have an exercise where there's a questionnaire that couples will put down, right? What their expectations are, or what their upbringing was, and all that. And then suddenly you see, like that one, how come you all like that? So this is one of the things. Sorry, about children, I forgot to mention one big conflict point is if one of the husband loves kids, but the wife don't want to have any kids, or the opposite, the wife wants to have kids but the husband don't have any kids. Wow, this is a big problem. It's a very big problem. This is something that you have to sort out before you get married, because once you get married, right, how are you going to do it is very hard. Okay, so this is all these expectations, different expectations, being as clear about it as possible is very important. All right. And then lastly is love languages. So different ones. I think last week Pastor Clint and Pastor Susan spoke about this. I think love languages are very important, because this is how people give and receive love. Okay, generally people will give love, or give out love, or how to say, display love in the way that they would like to receive love. Okay, so some people giving gifts to. Some people like people giving them gifts. They are things people. Some people like you to spend quality time together. Some people, the love language is physical touch. Okay, hugging, or just feeling that somebody is with you. So there are another I think 2 more. So total of 5 or 6 love languages. Okay. So understanding this is important, because the expectation is there. So I remember when I was when me and my wife were just married. So the first few years of marriage, we were learning about each other. Okay, so for me, I like things. Last time, now less, but last time I would like things. I mentioned earlier. So wow, this and that. So I remember I went to Milan, right? And I said, wow, I'm gonna get my wife something, right? So I said, I'll get her an LV bag. Get her an LV bag. Expensive. It was very expensive, for me. I don't know how much it was, but it was very expensive. And wow, as I was choosing it, looking, wow, this is the maximum I can afford. I buy her the most expensive thing that I can possibly afford, beyond that I can't. So I just take this one, and wrap in a nice box and everything. I was just imagining the joy that she would have when she opened it, right? I wanted to see how happy she would be, right? Because I know if I were her, I would be very happy lah. Okay, so I did it and came back and then gave it to her. And, oh, thank you. Open. It was rather muted, I must say. And then the bag was not used. Right? It was kept in the cupboard. And then, so I was a bit upset lah. I was like, hey, how can I buy this so expensive thing for you? And then you don't seem very excited about it. That's because her love language is not gifts, right? So her love language is other things. So I learned this, as we progress. Okay, so these two points here just give you the matrix of the being able to, when you understand different people have different expectations, what are the differences between people? And then on the left side is understanding the common triggers, all right, that people fight about. And so in order to manage conflict, you need to understand these common triggers, you need to manage expectations, but you also need to agree on the basics of conflict resolution, meaning that if you already fight, you no matter if you know all these expectations or this, there will still be times that this one goes out the window, okay? And it's just passion or anger or whatever coming out. So you as a couples need to know how to resolve conflict. So this is a chart, a flow chart, all right? How engineers look at processes, okay? Or how to solve a problem. So if you look at the top, so a couple is fighting. So how do you resolve it? So the couple must sit down and say, okay, we want to solve this problem. There is an expectation that we will be able to reach a win-win situation. Okay, so let's talk about it. So the first thing you need to do is you have to define the issue. Like, actually, what are we fighting about? What are we fighting about? Because couples many times fight about, it's the same fight, but they fight about different things. It's the same fight, but the wife is angry with the husband about something that the husband is not angry with the wife about. The husband is angry with the wife about something else in the same fight. All right. So you need to define the issue to be clear. And then you need to explain your concerns. What are the problems? What is your problem? I mean, what's the problem, right? What problem do I have with you, okay? And then you need to understand what problem your spouse has with you, opposite. So you need to know each other, listen. And this is part where you talk and the other one listen, the other one talk, and then you listen. All right. A lot of times people talk and talk before finish talk already. So you need to do this and then brainstorm creative options. Okay. How about this? How about we do this? How about this? Let's try this. At the side, you look on the right side, handle emotions, yours and theirs. That's very important because a lot of times you talk, even though you are calm, you start talking, then start getting angry again. Okay, because these things are very raw, near the nerves, very raw. So important to be able to work through this. Okay, so this is a theoretical flow chart. Okay, combine. Then after you brainstorm creative options, you combine options into win-win solutions. Win-win solution. Okay, so after you discuss, okay, maybe we can do this. So is agreement reached? Yes. So you jointly acknowledge the agreement. Okay, next time when I want to buy something above a certain amount, I will ask your permission. I mean, I will inform you and then we jointly agree to it. Okay, that is the agreement So that next time when it happens again, okay, you know what to do, right? But if no, let's say still cannot, then you redefine the remaining areas of disagreement. Okay, go back again, because sometimes the problem may be complex. It's not just one, maybe you solve this one, but then there's another one that's linked to it. So you have to go back and say, oh, actually we haven't solved this. So have this whole process. Okay. Now the problem is that sometimes even this also cannot work And so, or when you are fighting, already, how do you get to the place where you can even talk about this? This is theoretical. How do you get to the place you can talk about this? So the point I would like to make is that it's not whether you fight, because you will fight, but how you reconcile. That is the most important. This was actually told to me by my father, okay, when I was younger. He said you will fight, but what is the most important is whether both of you know how to reconcile with each other. Okay? Oh, he hurt me. Not going to go back and talk to him. No matter he come to me, also I also don't want to talk to him. Right? Then you have a problem. So the desire to want to reconcile is important, okay? And you need to ask God to intervene, okay, when you're fighting. This is something that I found very helpful, because sometimes when I fight and I really don't feel like reconciling my wife or whatever, I just ask God. I say, God, please bring us back together. You are the one that will bring us back together. So God is center in the relationship. When either party is too weak to come back, God is the one that will intervene. Okay, when you pray, He will answer. I can attest to this. And saying sorry, I'm sorry, works. Sometimes couples just don't say I'm sorry. And even you say I'm sorry, the other party didn't say I'm sorry. Oh, that's the next fight. Let's say you say, okay lah, Pastor Yusuf say, saying sorry works. Okay, I say sorry. The other person never say sorry back to me. Fight again. Second fight. No. You say sorry without expectation of the other person apologizing. You release that person into your forgiveness. Right? You ask for their forgiveness and you release them into your forgiveness, whether they say or not, you forgive them. Okay, this is how to say, if you can resolve this in your mind, after you calm down, you resolve this in your mind, this is the best way to bridge over the gap. Okay. Sometimes when you're angry, I mean, not sometimes, all the time. Okay, sometimes you're angry because you're tired. Many times couples fight because you're tired. You end of your rope already. You're so stressed at work, or came back so tired, and then the moment you come back, then you get nagged or scolded about something. All right, or the tone of voice or whatever, say, you didn't do this, you promised. Then the fight started, right? So when it's very important, take a nap. When you're well rested, then you can think straight. Then only you come and talk about it, right? Come back together again. Or it could be hangry, right? You're hungry and angry. Hungry then become angry, right? So maybe you were hungry and you were tired, hungry, and so sometimes having something good to eat, be hydrated and all that, makes you feel better. Then you can talk. Okay. And what is important is that you should keep short accounts. Don't leave something unresolved for an extended period of time, because it may build up and build up and build up. Then last time, in 1962, you did this, right? So keep short accounts. Okay. So whenever you bring it up as you can and resolve. Right? So now, in the end, love is the most important of all. So understanding all of this, this is all, how to say, worldly knowledge or wisdom. But in the end, actually, love is, so the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins. Right? When you say, I love you, no matter what wrong you do to me, I love you, I will love you. Okay, you do this, you treat me with no respect, I still love you. All right, you did this to me, you did that to me, you wronged me, I still love you. Because Christ loved the church. Because God loved us before we loved him. Right? He loved us first. So love covers a multitude of sin. So it boils down to love. In the end, conflict resolution boils down to love. Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not envy, it does not brag. Love is not proud. It does not behave itself inappropriately. It does not seek its own way. It is not provoked or not easily provoked. It takes no account of evil. It close one eye. Don't look at, So it does not rejoice in unrighteousness. It rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. So recently, we were doing in 1 Corinthians, right? So we were talking about going the Corinthian church going to courts and taking the each other to court in front of non-believers, right? Paul was talking about that. Actually, within a marriage, husband and wife, it's like, hey, this is not a stranger, this is not an external party, this is your spouse, the person that you are, one flesh with you. Why, of all the people that you would be willing to be wronged by, it should be your spouse, because it's closest person to you, right? So sometimes, of course, it's the opposite. They say, closest person, the one I whack the most, right? This is not the way lah. Huh? So we say it's okay. You know, I would rather be wronged than to not show love. Okay. So actually, that's the essence of love. Love is not self-seeking. Love doesn't seek its own justification or its own honor. Right? It is not self-seeking. Being slow to anger equals less conflict. Being slow to anger, this is another point, it's a separate point. Is talking about, this point talks about the speed at which you go from being cool to being angry, being furious. All right, that how fast do you go from 0 to 100 lah? So we say the Tesla S plate would do it in 1.9 seconds. Okay, from 0 to 100 in 1.9 seconds. So whether people get angry from 0 to maximum in 1.9 seconds lah, I don't know lah. But basically the Bible is saying that be slow to anger. So in Proverbs it says, one who is slow to anger has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered exalts foolishness. All right, this is very serious. One who is slow to anger has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered exalts foolishness. Proverbs 15:18 says, a hot-tempered person stirs up strife, right? But the slow to anger calms a dispute. So if you come back and even though you understand, you just raise your voice with the other person, then get angry already, right? So, but somebody who is the opposite, very calm, very kind, being slow to anger, calms a dispute. And Proverbs 29 verse 22, an angry person stirs up strife, right? And a hot-tempered person abounds in wrongdoing. So when you are hot-tempered, right? When you are angry, the limits are removed. When you lose your temper, right? Your inhibitions or your self-control goes out the window, and you can do things that you would greatly regret later. All right, wrong things, wrong words said, wrong actions. All right, when you are angry. So the more you operate in the realm of anger, the more you will do things that you will regret. So it's very important to not be operating in that realm. Okay. So, but I mean, we are who we are. So you ask the Lord for help, because this, if we are able to lose our tempers less in our marriages, I think that definitely there will be much less wrongdoing or foolishness. Okay. Now, good communication also equals less conflict. So the first one I said earlier was that being slow to anger equals less conflict. Having good communication also equals less conflict. Good communication. So misunderstandings happen when we don't communicate. So again, so I'm sharing all this for myself. Okay. So I am big size, quite a big size guy. All right. And my face, when I'm thinking about something, or deep in thought, or basically I have a very serious and scary looking face. This is told to me by my staff and all that. So when I'm thinking about something or whatever, I just by walking from the door to my office, I just walk, then people look at me, then they're scared. Right? I don't know why. I'm not angry. I didn't scold anybody. I didn't open my mouth. Just looking at me. Also, people get offended sometimes. So this is something. So I need to walk around. Good morning, good morning, hey, good morning. So I do that, right? So if I don't communicate and I just do my usual thing, people think that I'm angry, or they think I'm not happy about something, or I'm stressed. Then So this is just a simple example. Simple example of when we need to be able to communicate, to just talk to people, to be more, to share our feelings. This I'm talking about with our spouses, right? Good communication requires effort. Don't think that if you don't make effort, naturally, you can communicate. Do you know that sometimes you can be talking but not communicating? You could be, so the wife is, the husband is just reading paper. So the wife is talking, but there's no communication going on. All right. There can be talking happening, but no communication going on. Right. So communication requires effort. The wife must be able to communicate a way that the husband, in a meaningful way, the husband, when he is open to hearing, or the right time to say certain things, right? Or the husband must then say, hey, actually my wife talking to me, put down the papers, listen, what are you saying, right? So communication takes effort. You have to go out of the way for meaningful communication and conversation to happen. Communication is not just in talking, but also in doing and time spent together. Communication is not just in talking, so it doesn't mean that's communication, okay? But it's also in showing love, in showing what you mean in your actions, all right? So you love not just in word, but in deed, all right, in your deed, and in time spent together. In the end, there's no shortcut one. You can't say that you spend quality 2 minutes, high quality, all right, and then you're not around. It's better to spend 1 hour just with that person doing nothing. But I mean, okay lah, fooling around, just having fun together, then 2 minutes, high quality, let's communicate. It's not that. It's also about time spent together, okay? And understanding each other's love language equals to maximum impact communication. So like I said, so I've learned that my wife generally doesn't value gifts so much, but she's more a traveling person, experiences person, right? She likes to have new experiences. She likes to do stuff. Okay, so then I try to do that with her more. That's the way that she would value how I spend time with her. So this is then it communicates that I love her all right, and she also understands what I like, right? My golf and all that, and she will let me go and play, and she knows that when I after that I come back and I'm happier generally, okay? And be tender and kind always. Always err on the side of gentle words, of err on the side of being gentle. Always be tender and kind. So this is something I'm also trying to work on. Sometimes I just say something, even though I'm just trying to communicate, say something, it sounds like I'm scolding somebody, or it sounds like I'm barking a command, right? So I need to learn how to be more gentle with my words, right? That's something that I'm also learning, right? It takes effort. And praying together is very important, okay? So couples, not just for each to communicate to each other, but for both of you together to communicate with God. So each of us, we communicate with the Lord, but being together, either reading the Bible together or praying together is important, because then you are pouring you're pouring your hearts out to the Lord, praying for others, praying for your family, your children. This is very important, okay? So this is part of good communication. So more than just to avoid conflict, good communication strengthens love. In essence, this is what I'm trying to say, that when we are able to communicate and meaningfully communicate with one another, telling each other how, what you feel, what are your hopes, what are your disappointments, what are your worries and concerns, so that each other understands, we understand one another. The wife will know what the husband is going through at work. The husband will know, what's the wife going through at work or at home, or or what's happening in the family. This is important, right? So I think for all couples who are here, this is not meant to be 100% coverage of all possibilities. This is just for us to think about some of these things. I hope that some of these things maybe could be new to you, or one or two things that maybe you can learn from this. There's many more things to talk about how to avoid conflict, right? How to mitigate, how to manage it. But I think I will come to a close here, and we are open for Q&A. Right.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Yusuf. Excuse me. So those of you who have too many questions, would you like to type them out one at a time? and then I'll read it out to Pastor Yusuf so that he has some time to think of the answer. Oh, looks like nobody has conflicts at all.
They prefer
Or
Coco
they're very
Crunch.
good at coming. Coco Crunch. So far, I don't see any questions yet. So we'll give them some time. Maybe they need to choose their words as they type the question. Pastor Yusuf has shared a lot of his personal life, on communication, on conflict. So if you are a bit uncomfortable, then you can write into me with a direct message, and then I'll just read out your question without mentioning your name. Yeah, it is rather personal, right? To share with the rest of the church what could be your trigger, what could be the triggers in your household. But Pastor Yusuf is here to share and to help out. Oh, during the middle of an argument, how do you avoid or help your spouse to keep the short accounts? And examples would be helpful. In the middle, when you're right in the heat of an argument, how do you keep short accounts, Pastor Yusuf?
Okay, I don't really understand. Keeping short accounts means that when we fight, after we fight, we resolve the fight as soon as possible lah. Okay, that's what I mean by keeping short accounts, so that you square it and we are good, then continue. But maybe what you mean is how do you tell your spouse not to bring up situations in 1962 from 1962.
I think, yeah, that's what the question is about.
In fact, when people lose their temper already, I think it's quite hard. Whatever you say is wrong one. So I remember, I remember when we were fighting last time. So I'm very, how to say, I'm very holy one. I come from a background where, so halfway fighting, I can tell my wife, let's pray. Oh, I thought that would work, Didn't really work. Because when you're praying, Lord, please help my wife not to do this. That's not what it's meant to be, So, yeah, I think in an argument is quite hard to make your point. I think it has to be later, and I think generally, okay, this is just an additional point that I didn't make just now, that when I said that men and women fight about different things, I think, I don't know, in my sermon, maybe I've preached this before, but generally men are sensitive about righteousness. Men fight about justice. That means in a fight, who is right and who is wrong. They talk about justice. So whereas women fight or upset because the husband treated them roughly, was very unkind. Men fight about, hey, you did this, we agreed that you're not going to do this, but you went and do it. So men are not happy, right? You did something wrong. The woman doesn't deny that they did something wrong, but they are unhappy that the men talk to them as if that they are a child, or like don't treat them with with love, is it? So you're fighting about two different things, The woman is angry at the husband for being unkind, and the man is angry at the wife for doing the wrong thing. Then the man is angry that the wife is angry, even though she did the wrong thing. So you already did the wrong thing. How can you be angry at me? So this complexity lah. Or may I know how long it takes? How long does it take for a couple to cool down after a huge argument? Depends lah. So from if you are very fast from 0 to 100, I don't know whether you are fast from 100 to 0 lah. Normally, people who are 0 to 100 very fast, 100 to 0 is quite fast. People who are from 0 to 100 very slow, then 100 to 0 is very slow lah. I mean, just a generalizing, may not be true, but I think it differs from couple to couple. That's why I said I think it's important. A lot of times you will notice that you fight because you're tired. So you should go and get good rest first. All right. Then only you come back and talk about it. Then only, find an opportune time. I mean, I also find that, last time I used to want to be able to, the moment we cool down and then we talk about it. It doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Depends what you're fighting about also, right? So every couple got one or two things that is the most sensitive one. They're married for 50 years. They still fight about the same thing. They will fight about the mother-in-law. My mother-in-law died 20 years ago. You still fighting. So it's like that, right? When do
There's
you
another
know
question.
When do you know it's time for outside help, therapy, and does TNCC have an avenue for this? Okay. TNCC does, okay, so couples therapy. When do you know? I mean, I think that this is, I think if you have tried everything and it is a serious issue, it's very serious, and you is something that you can't continue on, then I think that that's the point, and you've tried to resolve it, even when you're calm also you can't resolve it, then I think that's the point that maybe perhaps outside help is required. I don't know, maybe Susan can chip in here. I don't know about Edna and Edna and what? What's Melvin? I mean, do they do this? I don't think not. I don't think we have this at the moment, right? In TNCC. It depends. It depends. I think that pastor or different ones would be able to help, but if it is something sensitive or what, then maybe you want somebody neutral or who doesn't know to help. I don't see a problem with that.
Eileen, how happy are you with that answer? Thank you. All right, looks like she's fine, Pastor Yusuf. Yeah. Oh, I was just looking at the gallery, and the married couples are a little bit serious, but those who are probably thinking of marriage, they seem to be enjoying this, and asking a few more questions, getting the answer ready for the time. Yeah. So I want to keep the questions coming. Otherwise, Pastor Yusuf is going to say, I'm done. Gao Dim.
John, I think there's one more question there in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed that. No, we've answered the middle of the argument. We've answered how long it takes to cool down and time for outside help. Pastor Susan, can you help and read out the question which I missed?
I'll send it to you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I've got one more point to add. I think that when we are angry, right? The Bible says, in Proverbs, it says that an offended brother is like a fortress with very high walls. What does that mean? That means that, when you are angry, nothing that the person says will be able to, you know, how to say, make that wall come down. And a lot of times for myself, right, I found that it is only the Lord, when he speaks to me only, it diffuses it. So a lot of times I pray and I just ask him, you know. I started out by asking, saying, God, can you please change her, right? Can you show her, lah? If I'm wrong, I say, sorry, I'll man up, right? But I'm not wrong. Okay, lah, right? But so then the Lord will show me things about myself, ironically.
Pastor Yusuf, there is a question. What to do when you really can't find a solution to the conflict? How do you bring Jesus into the situation?
What to do when you can't find a resolution to the conflict, lah?
And how, second part of it is, how would you bring Jesus into the situation?
I mean, okay, I don't know whether I have all the answers. I mean, I don't know like what kind of conflict it is. Is it you know, is it like continued marital infidelity? Right? If that is the problem, then you know, you can't, and it's continuing, right? Then how? So that is one extreme of the conflict, right? But I mean, other extreme of conflict is something that you can, both of you can solve, but it's just someone doesn't want to solve it. Then, you know, I think the Lord is the one that will bring you together. And to me, I feel that, you know, I think just showing love to the other person. If one side is showing love to the other side by actions, by things they do, by kind words, by whatever, right? And for me, I think it's hard for the other side to not be won over, right? So I don't know. I mean, the conflicts can be very, very vary in its serious, in its severity. But I mean, if it's something, just fight about something, right? I think, you know, and couples will learn. I mean, after a while, you will learn what each other likes, what each other doesn't like, and you know, you will try to and actually it starts with ourselves. I would say we have to look at ourselves first. Don't look at your spouse. It starts with ourselves. So you pray, you ask the Lord, you say, Father, this problem, right? I think it's the problem of my spouse. My spouse's problem is that, you know, they have a problem, right? I'm right, I think we need to change that attitude. If we say, okay, God, I'm not getting through, I don't know what is wrong. Maybe it's me. Can you please give me revelation? Open my eyes to see what is it in here that, you know, maybe I'm not doing, right? I can't see it. I need you to open my eyes to see. The Lord will answer your prayer. The Lord will show you one. But the question is, when he shows you, will you accept it? That is the question, right? When we fight, right? You know, it's ourselves as well. You know, so I learned a lot about myself through my fights with my wife, through the years. You know, of course we still fight, but hopefully not so much now.
Oh, another question. What if the opposite party is not a believer? What would then be an effective way to solve the conflict? If we introduce the Lord into the situation, it might just get worse, maybe.
So I would just say it is LOVE. It is love. So again, like I said, it is the Lord and you. Okay, the Lord, let's say your spouse is a believer, then the Lord will deal with them. You don't worry about that. You only talk about yourself. All right. And so let's say you show love, then the person hurt. You show love, then you know what I mean? You keep doing it. You just keep showing love. And you see, if the Lord has shown it to you already and you have revelation, you are no longer angry about it. That's why the anger is in our own mind, you see. The person may be angry at you, but you are not angry anymore. That's when you can continue to show love. So I would say that love will win them over. It's only when you are still angry, when you still cannot forgive, or when you are you yourself, you know, that is the part, then you cannot show love, you see. So that is I think that is the main issue lah.
Burn Mitch, is that okay with you? Well, ladies and gentlemen,
sorry, let Bernard
Go
talk
on.
first, but I just wanted to just quickly reply to Eileen's question. I think that anytime is a good time to talk as couples to get help for whatever issues you're going through in your marriage. And you don't have to be bad. You know, therapy is not a bad word, or, you know, if you go and seek counsel from other couples, older couples in church and all, that's why we are in a family, to help each other out. If you all can come together and say, can you pray with us through this? We're going through something. I think that's very, very important. We shouldn't be going through marriage on our own and struggling on our own. We should support each other. Of course, it's good to do it together rather than one person just go and keep airing your issues to the whole wide world. But as couples getting help together, I think that is important. Of course, also if there's something dangerous, you're physically in danger, or there's a extramarital party involved, then yes, please go and get the proper help and therapy that you need. I think, like Yusof said, we do have couples who you can talk to, but also we are not professionals, so sometimes it helps to go for professional therapy or counseling. And I think different ones, we've been trying to look for counselors that can recommend some counselors to you all. But I think it's good to try to address these issues before they become huge issues. So don't keep it all to yourself until it explodes. So that's why the whole communication and helping each other along, that's very important, to address the small conflicts before they become huge conflicts. Okay, now I'm going back to work. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Joe. Pastor Yusuf, anything to add to
No,
what Joe has said? No. Okay. So
must let
people
my
is
wife have the
already
last
like,
word.
yeah. Okay. So it's past 9:30. So I think we should just thank Pastor Yusuf for what he has shared with us today, and we can leave it out. So if you need help, you go and talk to the pastor team, and they will direct you to other people. So thank you, Pastor Yusuf, and I encourage everyone to unmute your microphone and show your appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you, Pastor Yusuf. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Pastor Yusuf.
Thanks,
Thank you.
John.
Thank you, Pastor Yusuf.
Thank you. Good
Thank you,
night.
Pastor
Yusuf.
Good night. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Great session. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, I'll end the meeting.
Bye. Good night.